Good morning, Greenville. For those of you that are watching us live, and welcome to the third episode of The Business Next Door. You'll notice we're in a new location. We are not on site, although this is where Downtown Ministries is located, but we're actually going to be filming all of our episodes now in the Sans MOCO Gallery space. It's a beautiful backdrop. We have much better access to lighting, so you'll be joining us every episode now from the beautiful space. The artwork will change, but we'll always be here. And so it's not about the background, though. It's about the content. And so why don't we get started? Joining us today is Marty with Downtown Ministries. He's the founder and director, and most of you know Fresh Grounds. This is sort of, Downtown Ministries is sort of the overarching sort of organization in which a lot of these different ministries fall under in Greenville. So Marty, thank you for joining us.
It's good to be here.
Thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how Downtown Ministries got started and why in Greenville?
Well, why in Greenville? Greenville's home, and so when you see a need at home, it's just natural to be here because I am Greenville and I do love our community. We started in 1994, actually with a small drop-in, safe haven venue up the street called the Mustard Seed Jam House underneath the old Bible gift shop, if you remember, up what is now the Carini restaurant. But the Jam House was a high school centered place, and during the course of being there 12 years, we developed a certain amount of credibility within the community in the things that we were doing. And so when we moved down to this building, the old J.C. Penney building, we had this following, this network of support with us, so we were able to transform this building into what it is today. So it's I think it's a beautiful space down here in the middle of our community. So.
Yeah, for those of you who have never made it to Fresh Grounds or Sans MOCO at 172 Main Street, you're missing out, and we don't know why you've been here. So, because it definitely is, for a nonprofit, for something that works with, the community donating towards volunteering. There's lots of volunteers that make this place happen and have over the years, even in building it. It's quite an amazing thing to see when you walk in and know sort of that part of it, the background, that it was through donation and volunteer hours. And then I'm sure we'll hear some stories about some of the amazing things that really happened whenever this was in the process. But Downtown Ministries is not just Fresh Grounds, but there's a lot of other things, like Sans MOCO, where we're at right now. Why don't you describe all of the facets and the things that fall under Downtown Ministries, where they're at and where they're headed?
All right. Fresh Grounds is our flagship, but Downtown Ministries is actually an umbrella under which there are 7 or 8 other sub-organizations. Fresh Grounds Coffee House, it's a full-fledged coffee house, if you've never been here. But we've had different people liken it to something that they would find in Pittsburgh or even New York City. It is a upscale, in my opinion, anyways, an upscale coffee house with all the makings of a big city type venue. So, but beyond that, also underneath the umbrella is Sans MOCO, this space, and again, we've had many people say that what a gem for Greenville. This is something you would find in a large city. Ben has done as the director, has done a wonderful job in creating art and creating this space and using the local talent that we have around Greenville to create not only an art gallery but a studio, and we hope working on an art community. So this is as many things that are with Downtown Ministries in the making, in the process of expanding and moving in farther in down the road. Also, we have in the basement what we call a community health ministry, and basically it's not a doctor's office or anything, but it's basically us assisting our community where there would be a need for some type of health assistance. For example, someone in a high-rise elderly, who's sick, scared of doctors, unknown about her insurance or his insurance, and so just sits there and watches TV and has this deteriorating health problem. Our people would be an advisory role where they would go in and help with the insurance, the doctor, go to the doctor's office with them and just assist them. It's a need in our community. I think it's a need in probably almost every community. Yeah. But beyond that, we're thinking down the road, a community garden, or helping with nutrition, cooking lessons for some young moms who have not had that benefit growing up, learning how to cook and that sort of thing. So many of you may have heard of His Work, His Way, which is another organization underneath our umbrella. His Work, His Way is a week-long mission trip in the community. Housed at Teal, we've had a great working relationship with Teal as we housed last year over 150 people at Teal, and then working with adults. This is students and adults working together, doing projects within our community. I think last year they did over 90 projects, ranging from mowing yards and landscaping to actually putting new roofs on houses, helping the elderly, again, and those who are physically unable to take care of their own property. So this has been a blessing to our community in just many ways. So also we have a Keystone Bible organization that gives every graduate from the Keystone Charter Schools their own copy of Holy Scripture. And we've had one person who's come and has this on her heart that this is what she wanted to do, and it fits underneath our umbrella in the tax exempt status and all that sort of thing, but also in the mentality that we would like to get Scripture out to different, yes. So.
Okay, and the focus of all of these sort of ministries underneath Downtown Ministries, like Sans MOCO, Fresh Grounds, are really focused on a relational ministry.
Absolutely.
And explain a little bit about what that means.
We are relational. And in that, as the His Work, His Way group, as they fix their house, they're getting to know the homeowner, and they have lunch, and to see a widow, elderly widow, having lunch with these kids in the front yard, and then to hear the widow explain what that experience was like, it's just really a heartwarming thing. But it's talking to people across the counter at Fresh Grounds. It is so relational. Everything we do, even up here in the art gallery, as we're doing lessons in the back, or as we're sitting around talking about the different displays and stuff, we are developing relationships with our community, and it's a sociology term for all this would be a great good place, or a third place. A third place. The first place being your home. The second place being where you work. A third place is where you interact with your community and socialize. This is by all definition, is a great good place.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And building relationships is important in that, for ministry, a lot of times it can come off as being preachy or, explain sort of how that, what that means.
We've never been accused of throwing Bibles at people when they walk in the front door, that is for sure. However, we are a Christian organization, and there's no compromise to that whatsoever. As we develop relationships with our community, people will ask us questions. How did this place come about? And there is a very distinct, God is very real here, because he has almost, choose my words carefully, almost allowed this place to happen because of all the little intangibles that have come together to make it happen. Mm-hmm. The different people that have come in, the funding is phenomenal. As we need the money, it just appears. But for us to share these stories, to share the stories of a very real God, and to actually, as we're developing relationships, we're a testimony of a very real God. So
definitely. And it's not so much, it's easy to say maybe that we see him in the big picture, yes. But when you're able to show how he's in the little details, yes. that is, I think, something that's harder to deny. I personally, I
Absolutely.
think.
Absolutely.
What is your favorite part of what you do at Downtown Ministries?
Well, the big joke is that Marty Johnson never really does anything at Downtown Ministries, but at being over this, I had the privilege of watching all these different aspects happen, and all these different relationships developing and happen. And I think the biggest joy is when you see the successes, when you see a volunteer come in who's kind of shy and lacking the confidence, and then through the interacting with other staff people, and then watching them interact with the community, and just to watch. There have been so many who have just come in, again, shy and withdrawn, and just blossom, just like the flowers in the spring, so to speak. So I think watching that,
seeing lives changed.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely seen that here as well. You and your wife were recognized, I believe it was not this past annual dinner, but the one before that, as being Business People of the Year. So congratulations again on that. That was a neat experience to see, because Marty is one of my bosses. I have many bosses, but Marty is one of them. So it was exciting to see that. But having been recognized for that, what are some valuable lessons that you have learned from directing? There's always things that when you reach sort of being recognized as being a leader in the community, within the business world as well, because there's a business operation part of what goes on here as well. But what are some valuable lessons that you can, share with our audience?
I think, well, first of all, it was an honor to receive that Businessman of the Year, because I don't really picture myself so much as being a business person. But I think
sometimes it's what it takes, is not seeing yourself as a business person.
Maybe so. But we have kind of defied odds here by the creation thing, and I think if I would, and again, choose your words carefully here, because the ramifications of this could be something, but go for it. And I don't mean go for it as in, we can do anything. It's a calculated go for it, if I could term it that way. If you see, again, we work our faith into this as we see a door opening, and as we walk through the door, if God is leading you through that door, absolutely go for it, because as we began this process of starting this thing, we saw early that God had a purpose for this place to be here, and so we did go for it, and we could have come in here and painted the walls and slapped a counter together and had a couple Mr. Coffee machines down there to serve coffee to the community, but we didn't do that. We did it as excellent as we knew how, working in the confines of our budget and watching the different pieces come together, doing it well, but still going for it.
That is exactly the reason. That is exactly the thing that drew me the most to this place, is seeing how well it was done. And that drew me to want to be a part of it is, wow, they care about what they're doing. They want to do it well. And they're taking the time and effort that's needed. And it definitely takes time. It was 3.5 years for downstairs. It was 3.5 years for up here. And
Seems
it's
to be the magic number. So
3.5 years for all of the things to sort of get underway. But it's totally worth it when you wait, when you commit to it.
Yes.
But I like that. Go for it.
Yes.
Commit to it, put in the work and the time, and go for it.
Yes.
What is something maybe unknown to the community still of Downtown Ministries, or a common misconception of Downtown Ministries?
Well,
and you can speak candidly.
I'm not sure. The mind goes blank at times. Misconception of, let's go to the next question. How's that?
The next question. Why be a part of what's going on here? Why should people get involved?
This is where it's all happening. That's I think there is a community spirit here, and it's again, watching different volunteers come in and grow. There's something going on here, and it's not really something you put your finger on and explain exactly what it is, but there's excitement here. There's when you do it well, but when you see the results of what's happening in our community, I think. And I'm not blowing my own horn here to say that how transforming this whole place is and everything. However, downtown Greenville isn't what downtown Greenville was 5 years ago, and the scape outside, the new sort of thing, and different buildings that have been transformed downtown. I think there's something happening, and it's, to me, we're just beginning.
Yeah.
And so I think Fresh Grounds is a part of that, and the whole thing is what's going on in this building is probably not the driving force, but it is a driving force to help transform this community into a community.
Yeah. So, and do you know what? We humbly may not say that it's a driving force, but many people look at what started here, oh my gosh, 7 years ago now.
Right.
No, that's too long. But when it opened and people finally, 5 years ago, when people finally got to see what was happening here, a lot of people do sort of will recognize that as a good beginning, at least.
Yes.
So, inspiring other people to put in the hard work and the effort in renovating our buildings, our infrastructure downtown, and so I think that's worth something. Sum up serving in Greenville. We ask every interviewee to sum up in 2 words what it means to serve or to do business in Greenville. In this case, it's serving Greenville.
All right, thought about this long. The first word that I would choose is fulfilling, and this is terribly fulfilling to watch. Again, the transformation in people, the relation, all the stories. I mean, the volunteers downstairs and up here and throughout the ministry, we all have in our pocket stories of different things that have happened with individuals, and just to sit around and have someone share what happened yesterday, and you wouldn't, there's a comfort, there's a warmth, it's just like life means something, purposeful, being used by God. It's a very fulfilling and it's a very rich feeling. But also, and that's way over here, my other word that I've chosen is clear over here, and it's frustrating because as fulfilling as all this is and all this stuff that's going on, there is so much more. There is so many more people that are hurting. I see all these kids that are running around town and aimless, and kids in aimlessness, leads to destruction and all this sort of thing. We see this stuff going on. We want to be a part of that. We want to inject ourselves into them and help guide and help.
So you see the need that's out there.
I see the need that's out there.
Much greater than what.
Yes, and so as fulfilling as it is, there is still this sense of we can do more.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of the interviewees, and a lot by, I mean 3, because we've had 3 so far, but I sense a trend coming that the words are going to be these two sort of maybe opposite, that dichotomy. So why don't we move on to tell us one way in which belonging to the Chamber has benefited your organization.
The word, and I think this is one of the purposes of the Chamber is networking, and it's been a great network. I mean, as we are able to use the internet through the Chamber, through the Chamber website, and put out our flyers or put out our what are they?
Events.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I was thinking of a more internet technical term, but that works. So, working with Reeves, who are so much involved with the Chamber, and they've done so much for us, and just getting to know the different aspects of our community through the Chamber, and I served on the Chamber board. I just went off the board here in this last term, but this year, but. Just being a part of that round table every month, talking about our community and seeing how the Chamber is so involved in different areas.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And even, and I won't share the name because I'm not sure that they want to be known, but at the dinner last year, or this past dinner in October 2014, one of the ministries here, His Work, His Way, was recognized as being the one of the service organizations of the year. And from that annual dinner, a business who was at the annual dinner went up to the people who are in charge of that ministry and said, how can I help? So even the networking and getting to know where the need is that way has been beneficial. Why don't I'm going to check really quick Twitter, so I'm not being rude, but we have about 6 minutes left, and I want to see if anyone's tech savvy enough to have live tweet us. And I forgot to remind people at the end that you can. There's still time. We have about 6 minutes. You can live tweet your questions at Greenville CHAM1. I'm working on changing that Twitter handle because it's a little confusing, but it would be like Greenville Cham without the burr, and then 1. Live tweet us a question, and if I get it before 10:30, then we'll ask Marty. If not, that's okay. I understand some of you might not be on Twitter yet. And eventually down the road, we're hoping to continue to grow this sort of experience, and we may have the ability for you to send your emails that I'd be able to easily access them during this time. But for now, it's just tweeting. Is there anything else that you would want to share with the audience about Downtown Ministries or any of the sub-ministries?
Absolutely. There is, and this is the plug, because one of the main aspects of Downtown Ministries is this volunteerism. And we can never have enough volunteers. And you think about a volunteer at Downtown Ministries, where you think, well, they want me to serve behind the counter, but there are so many different aspects of the different areas in which to volunteer down there. We can make practically anybody useful.
Yeah.
As we're doing this, I'm hearing one of our volunteers who's cleaning the back part of the art gallery as we speak. There are volunteers downstairs. We have prayer groups. We have maintenance people. We've actually purchased the building next door to us, just behind this wall. And next spring, we're hoping to tear that building down and build an outdoor patio, so we can drink our coffee in sunlight. Maybe not today, but next summer.
If you live in Western Pennsylvania and you can sit outside and get sunlight, man, it's going to be packed out there.
Yeah, we will have an awning that you can sit under when it's not quite all that nice. However, that's a nice big project, and we're looking for help to create that sort of thing. So volunteerism.
Volunteers in marketing and some other areas that we hope to
even to hang out in the art gallery and just to help people through and. So.
I know there's I think the number's around over 50 volunteers right now that it takes to make this happen, which is
last
big.
year we logged, it was like over 22,000 hours of volunteerism in
just last year.
Yeah, underneath our umbrella. So,
wow. So there's definitely always a need for that.
Yes.
Some other interesting facts that'll be coming out in a magazine that should be going to print very soon, and this is a little teaser for that. But Fresh Grounds has, since it's opened in April 2010, has made over 4,000 gallons of coffee. And that is enough to fill 80 large bathtubs, which I personally thought the number was going to be much greater than that, but because I drink a lot of coffee, but apparently that's still significant.
Right.
80 large bathtubs of coffee is definitely significant, and especially because we're only open Wednesday through Saturday.
Yes.
If we were open 7 days a week, that number would be twice as much. So,
and let me add, that's 80 large bathtubs full of really good coffee.
Yeah, really good coffee, definitely. I'll throw in a little plug. In the studio right now, there's an exhibition of my artwork, so come and check it out.
Right.
And then we have a new exhibition coming it's the last Friday of February. We'll be having an opening reception for local photographer Hannah Cassell with some black and white work. So we have that to look forward to. Let's see if we had any response for our live tweet questions. Doesn't look like it, but that's okay. That is okay. Because sometimes you never know what you're going to get. Thank you for joining us. It is always a pleasure to share with you some of the great things that are happening with our chamber members. And again, thank you, Marty, with Downtown Ministries, for coming and being interviewed today. So we will see you next month. We are interviewing the Record Argus. So we really look forward to that, and we hope that you will join us live. Good night.